right, welcome to another episode of Do Your Homework, where we help people make good decisions, especially if you're doing work on your home. We have a great guest today.
Yes.
We have the lovely
Maria Acosta.
Mother, wife, business owner, all-around boss, good friend.
How would you describe yourself, Maria?
Oh, jack in the box.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, just mom, wife. First mom, wife. Those will interchange when my kids leave me at some point. Yes, business owner. I'm a daughter and a sister and a friend.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
You're jack of all trades.
You really are the jack of all trades. There you go. I think you named like every possible relationship there.
So yeah, thanks for coming and
Yes.
just hanging out with us. We appreciate your time.
You got it.
Our first guest.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's a
big
guy.
deal. It's a big
Is
deal,
it?
Maria.
On a blazer for this.
Our first guest, and she is in insurance.
Yes, I own an insurance company.
Okay.
2 agencies, but yeah, we're in the insurance.
Amazing. Okay.
What do you think is a very common, like, bad decision people make when they're shopping for insurance or deciding coverage or, like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's a great question. What's a bad decision people make for insurance?
I want to say, like, focus on price while forgetting about coverage, because price is the number one concern, right?
Yeah.
All of it's our concern. But I mean, if you're gonna pay $5 for Pepsi or $5 for a Coke, you're getting about the same.
Mm-hmm.
But don't pay $5 for Pepsi and pay $5 for something.
Off
you
brand.
know,
brand.
Yeah, you don't know what's in it. You don't know what it's gonna do for you. So I say, yes, we were shopping. We gotta look at price, but also know what you're getting for it.
Yeah.
You don't want the worst to happen, and at that point find out that you really have nothing.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
Quite often.
Really?
Quite often.
Do you think more so in the auto space or the home insurance space? Or both?
We feel it more in the homeowner space because
Okay.
it's a bigger expense.
Yeah.
But day to day, it just so happens people will call and say, "Hey, my windshield broke. I was told by this company that I can get it fixed for free."
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not really free. It's a coverage you're supposed to have.
Yeah.
So if you're not carrying it, you won't have that. So windshield breakage happens quite often, and a lot of people just don't carry the coverage that will replace that at no out-of-pocket cost to them.
Got it.
Um,
What about in the home space? What's something that you see?
home space, there's a lot of water limits on homes. So if the damages are due to water, there's a limit to that. So if you have a low limit, let's say $10,000, and you have $50,000 worth of personal property that got damaged, you're gonna be short a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
So deductibles are often like not knowing what you're supposed to come out of pocket. Right? So then the loss comes and you have a $10,000 deductible. Well, you have nothing to
Wow.
do.
Even there's like percentage deductibles, right?
Correct. Today, in the state of Florida, there's a minimum 2% hurricane deductible.
And that's
Minimum.
the property value, or
Of the dwelling coverage. So whatever you choose to cover your home for, let's say that's $100,000 you're choosing to cover your home for, it's 2% of that.
of the 100,000.
So 100,000, 2,000, $1 million, 20,000.
But
Wow.
are there still like set deductibles, like $2,000 no matter the value?
No. So
It's
for
always
all
a
perils, but not always a percentage. So there's 2 deductibles, right?
Okay.
There's the hurricane deductible, and this only happens in Florida. California may have a
Earthquake or something, yeah.
deductible,
Fire
deductible.
Fire.
Yeah.
We don't have it. We have a hurricane deductible, and then we have an all other peril deductible. Well, you know what I just said about shopping and pricing?
Yeah.
The lower that deductible you choose, the higher your premium. So if you choose a $1,000 deductible, $500 deductible, you know that's what's going to come out of your pocket when the worst happens. Well, your premium may be a little higher by having lower deductible. Or if you're just basing it on price and not knowing what you're buying, a lot of companies out there will say, well, your premium is going to be $2,000 a year, but then you have a $10,000 out of pocket deductible.
Right.
They don't know.
So that kind of makes sense, because not all things I would say are that, like, that's a good approach. It's price first. But like if you look price first, they're the same price, but this deductible is better for me,
Correct.
that's my option.
Correct.
Or that's a better fit.
Yes, definitely.
Or coverage, even if the same deductible, better coverage.
Better coverage, covering your home, personal property. Most people underestimate personal property, what you bring into the home.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them to picture it like this. Think about your home as it is. Remove the roof, turn it upside down, and shake it up. Whatever falls down is your personal property. There's going to be a lot of things down there.
Yeah.
It's not just a TV, furniture, but there's your clothing, there's your toothbrush, there's your pots, your pen, and all of those add up to more than just $10,000.
Yeah.
People think that we
Easily.
accumulate a lot throughout our lifetime in our
sure.
homes.
For sure.
When we're homeowners, and even when we're not. Think about when you move.
Renters,
Yeah. So that's that's important for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, insurance right now is just kind of crazy, but
Mm-hmm.
it's so.
Yes.
It's like the advice for shopping for any kind of insurance 5 years ago is like irrelevant now. It's constantly changing, I feel like.
Yeah, things have changed a lot. How do you feel about, I've heard recently that because premiums have gotten so high, right, that people just can't afford them, that they're opting out of certain coverage. So I've heard that people are kind of opting out of that wind coverage. So if a hurricane comes, you actually don't have the coverage to get your roof replaced, right? But it's the only way.
Exclusion.
The exclusions, yeah. So, but again, it's some people feel like that's just the only way to get your premium to a reasonable place.
Yeah. It's a wild
Yeah.
market out there today. My company, we don't offer such exclusions. So if we can insure the home as it is, we will just let someone else do that.
Okay.
The other thing is, if you have the home finance, if you borrowed any money to purchase the home, you don't have an option to remove. Oh, well, the bank is not going to want you to remove wind coverage because they want to protect their investment.
Got it.
And you should want to protect your investment, right?
Yeah.
But also now it's a matter of, can I afford it?
Exactly.
I'm concerned. I have 2 kids, and at some point they're gonna go out there and they're gonna want to buy a home. I don't know what's gonna happen then. If they choose to buy an older home, I'm seeing premiums of $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year. And
Oh my goodness.
You're either gonna pay insurance or the mortgage, or what are you gonna pay?
Yeah.
So I hope that things do balance out, because it's always a cycle. I just feel that in the homeowners market, we're in a space where we haven't been before, but it always balances out. So I'm pretty positive that we'll balance things out again. But I am concerned. I see a lot of buyers. I'm sure at some point you'll have a realtor in here that might tell you, like, I have all these people that want to buy a home, but when it comes down to financing between the interest rates and the homeowners insurance, you can't afford it. Can't afford it. The pricing of homes, you've had a home for 20 years, it's been assessed at a price, but then when you buy it, you're buying it at a lot more today. So the assessed value is going to be higher. The cost to replace it today is going to be higher. So again, taxes, insurance, and those interest rates, I just don't know how people are going to do it.
I don't know.
I also don't know what's going to happen if we have a bad storm season, as I think the storms will make it worse.
They will make it worse.
For sure.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
there's so many companies that have left the state of Florida.
Yes.
And that, again, right, we live in a capitalist country, right? Competition it's part of what we are. So if there's no competition, there's no managing of prices. One can
like
charge
if
whatever
so many
they
people
want.
leave and there's 3 left and they just do
They
whatever
can
they
charge
want.
whatever. How am I seeing a 1958 home and I look at a premium of $15,000 a year? Like that is wild. That's not a home I can insure. That's not what I'm charging my customer, because what I'm saying is I just can't do it. Go find options.
Right.
And I often would tell them, like, go here, try this out, and these are the premiums. They're like, Maria, is this legit? Like, that's what they're charging. That's what they're. So I can't tell you that I know where we're going. But it's an election year, so things should change.
It's an election year, so everything is wonky.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything is
weird
so
right now.
weird.
Everybody I talk to, general contractors, flooring,
Yeah.
plumbing, whatever it is, they're just like, it's so
Other
weird right
roofers, yes.
now. Other roofers.
Yeah, everything is weird and everything is expensive. Like everybody's really feeling that almost like that squeeze, like you go anywhere, you go out to eat, you go to the grocery store, you go fill gas, and everything just feels like, okay, there's another $100. Like I feel like that $100 is like now just like the minimum. Anywhere you go, that's how much you're gonna spend.
I have these conversations every day. My
Really?
conversations with customers are about pricing.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple that came in yesterday. They have 2 young drivers, So they're paying about $500 a month for 3 cars insurance, which sounds wild, right? Compared to what I know is out there for
It's a
2
car
young
payment.
drivers, it's fine.
Yeah.
But to them, on a fixed income where nothing has changed on that part,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll always put every card on the table and say, well, this is what I can offer for what you're paying. We can downgrade from there, but I want you to know the risk that may be. And at some point, that's what people are doing. They're just bringing
Downgrading.
coverage down because it's what they can afford today. So it's either I pay for my insurance or I'm gonna buy a gallon of milk for my kids.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a homeowner. I get it. Like there's things that you're not gonna stop paying your utility bill to pay your life insurance. It's like I get that. So it's
Insurance is interesting that way because you can dial things back,
Okay.
like you can
Yes.
slide the scales where you can't really.
Do that with your mortgage.
Oh, we can't do that with your roof.
No.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
cost is the cost.
it's a
Yeah.
cost, and like our process is our process
Right.
because you can get a cheaper roof if you have like cheaper labor, for example. But we're not gonna provide cheaper labor
Right.
to you. So we tell people, go somewhere else.
Right.
Same as I
that's-
would, right? Like I can't offer you a coverage with no wind. I would say I just don't
Yeah.
have it. Go
I just
somewhere.
don't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's complicated, but I'm positive. I think it's gonna get
Yeah.
better. It's gonna be fine. It's just
I
part
think
of
so
the
too.
cycle,
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm really curious to have the same conversation in January.
Yes.
to
Yeah.
see what actually changed. Because I think there is this like hope or like light at the end of the tunnel that like it's the election year, it's weird. Once we get past it, it'll be good. I hope that's the case. And it will be, just how much better will it get? Is the
It's public record when a company files for rate increases or decreases, right? Like we all know when any major company files for a rate increase, because we can't just say, "Oh, I'm Maria, I'm going to charge you 10% more on your next renewal." No insurance company can do that. They have to file with the state of Florida and to say, "Okay, well, I have to increase my rates because I'm running low in funds, and if all of my people have a claim, I won't have enough money, so I have to rate."
and that
have
gets
to have an
approved by the state.
The state. So every file increase and even decreases have to be approved by the state of Florida. So we always know what's going to happen. I knew this year with all the rate increases that were coming. Like we knew when the company filed, we knew when they were approved, and we knew when they were going to take effect.
Got it.
But as of now, I don't know of any rate increases. Like we haven't seen it. There hasn't been any filings recently, so I'm hopeful.
Maybe we see like decreases, filing for decreases in
I don't think
December.
not while we're in the middle of hurricane season. There will be no.
But what about like December this year?
We'll see.
Maybe.
Gotta see what happens in the next 6 months. But again, last year, today, I knew what was gonna happen this year because we already knew the filings that were done, not just by the company I represent, but by every other company. So we always prepare for that. But today, there hasn't been any filings that we know of, so that's good news.
Yeah, that is good news
So-
for sure. And I'm very hopeful in that, like we were saying, right? It's all a cycle. It all goes up and down, and I think things will stabilize. I really do. Whether it's right after the election or shortly after, I think things will stabilize. I also am very hopeful that it's not going to be a bad storm season. I don't know why. It's just a hopefulness that it's just not. I think we're going to be okay.
I think we're gonna be okay. There are things coming, like we know.
Hopefully not, Maria.
Hopefully not. I don't want it.
Don't
I
put
mean,
that out into the universe.
I don't want it. I don't want it for
don't.
my customers. I don't want it for my company. But it's no secret. Like it's real.
Yeah. Yeah. It's no secret that it's like 120 degrees outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's different.
Yes.
You've been doing insurance how long?
10 years now.
Cool.
2014. Well, I left banking in 2013. Then I did health insurance for 1 year, and then I went into all the other lines of insurance, auto, home, life after that. And then I knew I wasn't gonna go anywhere else. Like, I'm gonna
You're
die.
like, this is it.
Yeah, this is it. Unless God has a different plan for me.
What got you to that point, you think? Just like through life ending up where you're just like, this is it.
Like what I do carries meaning. There's value in what I do every day. Also having control, right? Working for a big corporate company before, right? I worked for a big bank, and it was like the same 9 to 5, the day to day. I had less influence. Like today, knowing that yesterday somebody asked me, so what's next for you? What are your next goals? And I can name them. Like I know the things that I'd like to accomplish within the next 10 years. But I can see myself accomplishing those things without influencing the people around me. Either the people that work with me, the people that I get to touch or influence in any way.
Yeah.
So if I can't do that, then I don't want to get those things. I don't want to accomplish those things. So in the position that I am today, I can influence my team, my customers. Like whenever I go and pay out at a clinic, like I haven't had a crazy one at home, but I recently did pay out a life insurance claim for a mom passed away, left the 4 years, right?
Yeah.
And it was a terrible situation, you know. And yeah, as a mom, I can relate. I pay these things out, but when there was a little one involved, and I'm like, I have 2 kids whose life revolve around my decisions and what I do every day.
Mm-hmm.
But this kid just lost that person,
Yeah.
you know, who's his life revolved around, and just to be able to show up and say, well, this is not much, but it's something, and for the family to be able to grieve and have a plan for this kid and for someone to take care of him, that carries meaning. Like I love doing that. Giving cash out of the bank or writing a CD or holding somebody's money didn't give me that feeling that this gives me. Plus, like now I have a team whose life I can influence. Like when I say, okay, my team, I have homeowners. They drive what they want to drive. They're taking vacations. I lived through that and I drive in that.
Yeah.
That was an influence I could have in the past. So this career gives me meaning in what I can give back to the community, but also the people that are around me.
What are some of the big decisions you've made or maybe still have to make that you feel like are like you have to put together a process for, or like I guess are just tough to decide what to do?
Letting someone go is always a tough decision.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I've never fired anybody.
Oh,
Never.
Really?
I've
In
never.
10 years.
I've never fired anybody. People have dehired themselves.
Okay.
So I will say, like, I will give you a chance. Like, I believe in people. I really do. I always want to. If I give you a chance, there's something I saw in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a girl who walked to my office, and I interviewed her, and when she comes to mind, like, I have an accent, you can hear it. I need people around me who speak English. So she could barely speak English, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be tough. She's been one of the best hires I've had. Not only has she grown and learned through us, she's going for her law degree today.
That's amazing.
She just had her first baby, and I'm proud of that. Like this is someone I was able to give a chance to. But I give chances to everybody. So when somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to, I will say something like, okay, for that I have to create a process because now I have to replace him or get the existing team to do what we're doing today without that extra body. But I'll usually say, like, look, this is what's been happening, right? You get a lot of chances. I'm going to give you until the 30th of July to make a change. But if you see you're not changing, I'll take your resignation letter because you don't want me to fire you. You want my recommendation. I'm going to give you my recommendation. You've given me time. I owe you something in exchange. So I always get that resignation letter pretty quick. And
that's kind of a good way to approach
it. It is, yeah. I've
never fired anyone.
But yeah, I can agree. That's
That's
a tough decision. It is a tough decision.
Well, it's rough because you get to know the family, you know what they're doing, and I think about one day one person decided to mess with my job and my income, and I feel like you can punch me. No, ever punch me. Okay, not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But you can punch me. I'll recover from that. But if you ever try to come after my job, that's my day to day. That's my living. That's how I provide for my family.
That's how it feels.
That's just you don't go after that right after somebody because I experienced that one time. I'm very careful when it comes to that because I know what they're relying on. I know what happens.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting as a business owner how there's like such a difference between like a personal attack and then an attack to your business. Like it almost feels like more significant than a personal attack. Like right, you can attack me, you can say what you want about me, you can not like me. But my business, it's almost like you hold it sacred. Like I need you to like my business. You know, there's that's like there's such a different feeling. Right? Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not even just like my business, it's like support it.
Support my business,
or have its best interest in mind.
Correct.
Because as a result, you have my best interest in mind, the people that I care about the most.
Yes.
Because especially like us, family business, it's like you're talking about my family. You're not
Yes.
just talking about me as a person.
Correct.
You can not like me, but you can still support my business and my family.
Yeah.
We've
And-
only had to fire one person.
Yes. Yes. It was an unfortunate situation, but again, it was one of those things where you got to look out for the business.
For the business.
But I
for the
think
growth.
You have to.
if we ever have that situation again, I want to take that approach of like,
You have this
So
much
it's-
time to
yeah.
correct to this issue.
that would have made the process so much easier for us, and probably
Yeah.
that person would have left sooner.
Yes.
Think about, I mean, okay, all aspects, right? It's a better, you end up in,
Yeah.
all the people that have ever left me, which is not a lot. I'm lucky that I still care a lot of them. I still have a great relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Number two, it's our peace of mind. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm putting the ball in your court. Like, you are making
Yep.
the choice of not doing what you're supposed to do to keep going. But three, no unemployment. They can file unemployment against me
Yeah.
because they quit.
Right.
So there's lots of benefits to that approach.
I love it.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that
Yeah.
for next time because it's tough. It's a tough decision. It really is.
Anyway, my partner has the toughest time when he has to think about letting someone go. And even thinking about it this way, he just doesn't sleep for days. He will just be like, I just can't do this. And I'm like, well, I feel like we've done everything we're supposed to. And now we're given this time and it should be fine. But he still struggles with it.
Yeah.
Does he take that same approach you have to the 30th? Kind of.
I'll tell you, he has, but most of the times he just has a bigger heart than I do. I'll tell you that right now. He will be like, okay, why don't you give him a chance? So then I hire that person. And then now maybe sometimes they end up working out. Like I have one right now that he had that situation and she's fantastic with me. Just different leadership.
Yeah.
Where we have had others where then I'm quicker to be like, okay, yeah, didn't work there. It's not working here.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you a whole month. Do your thing or just stay hire yourself.
Yeah.
Have you ever done the opposite? Have you ever sent somebody over to his office?
No. The only time we've done that is like I hire interns from you. I have a partnership with UCF for the people in the PSP program, professional selling program, and because we make a donation and they allow us to go to this. I don't know, some
Like a job fair?
like a student. These students get invited, like only select ones get to go. And then we're there, they approach us, and then sometimes they give us a resume because they're looking for internships. And a couple of them we've hired as interns, they always train with me. And then once they're ready, then we're like, okay, well, you will go here. So he took the interns last time, both of them. And one of them is still with us. So,
What kind
That's
of
an awesome
training do
process.
they get?
Yeah.
with us.
No, from UCF, sorry. Because you're
The
getting
personal
through
selling
the
program,
program.
well, they're going for whatever degree they're going, but UCF has a program called professional selling program, and they have to apply for it. There's like a whole process, like for you to get in it. And we happen to have a good relationship with Dr. Steiger, who's the person who heads it, and their requirements to be part of it, I have no idea. But these kids work hard. Like we show up to like role plays, and they give us a script, and they have to come and go like speed dating type of thing, and they get rated.
That's very cool.
We
should look for that. Yeah, absolutely.
I tell you when we go next, it usually happens in April and sometimes in the fall.
Okay.
A lot of times I share those resumes because they're often like great kids, and they're just looking for an opportunity to get experience.
In sales.
In sales, yeah.
So it's like any industry. But
Any
sales.
industry, yeah.
That's
I like
awesome.
that.
I love that.
Yeah. And then so I'm happy to share those resumes when I get them because of course I never hire the 30 that I get. I only get 2 or 3 at a time, and I've sent them before to our lawyers in the group and other people.
Because we're gonna be hiring a sales rep who can hopefully become sales manager.
Yeah. So again, looking for somebody with a lot of potential, which I think students is exactly where that is.
Did you go to UCF?
For 2 semesters. I graduated from Rollins.
Oh, cool.
Rollins.
Did Manny go to Rollins too?
Yeah, for his MBA.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He did UCF, then Rollins?
Well, yes, UCF, I think he did University of Phoenix. That's where he finished his actual bachelor's and then went for his MBA at Rollins.
Rollins.
We love
So
Rollins.
nice.
It's not just the facility. Well, that's like the biggest
So
plus,
high.
the location, but
The
it's the
location.
feel, it's the culture, it's the vibe of going in there. You know, it's like awesome. I failed the same class at UCF twice. Those 2 semesters that I went finance. I'm not super smart, but I'm definitely not dumb. It was just I thought I was so smart. I can just show up to the test and pass it without going to class ever.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God.
And then I took the first test and I aced it. I'm like, see, I can do it. So
You proved yourself
I was
right.
working
That's
at
the
the
worst thing that
bank.
could happen.
Yes.
Now you
Yeah, because my confidence just went
proved a
there.
bad idea.
So yeah, I showed up to the next test. I got like a C minus. I'm like, I got it. I just studied a little
Still pretty
more
good.
the
Still
next
pretty
one.
good.
I failed the third test, and of course I failed the final, so I failed the class. And then I'm like, just do it again. Now I know what to do. I should go to class after the first test.
Yeah.
So I made a very
After
same
the
exact
first
mistake. Yeah, I was young and stupid. But I was working. I was making money. I was a young mom too, and there was just a lot going on at the time.
Yeah.
And, I just said I'm not gonna go. So I just kept working, and then when Manny was getting his MBA, he's like, you always told me that if you one day wanted to tell your kids to finish school, you have to be the example. And I lead by example. Like I cannot teach something I don't do myself. So I'm like, gosh, yeah. So he's like, we're starting at Ronnie's next week. Sign me up.
He signed you
He
up.
signed me up because the dean of the college, the section that I was going to, or the economics, whatever, the dean of that school was in his MBA class. It's like, I need my wife to go to school. So he signed me up. I went to school and I loved it. And the first class I had to pass because I was on probation. I aced finance because I went to class.
You finally realized
Look at
it.
that.
Yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah.
You go to high school here?
Colonial. It's great to be a grenadier.
Nice.
So you've been in Orlando a long time.
2001, so 23 years.
How old were you when you
How did you know that we know this accent, Maria? Should be your next question. I'm like, I don't know.
You moved here when? At what age though?
13.
Okay.
Okay, 13. I was watching an interview with Sofia Vergara recently, and she talks about the same thing, where she said that when she first decided that she was going to try and make it in Hollywood, her goal, she set out, she's like, I'm going to get rid of my accent. That was her goal. And she said she has done it all. Vocal coaches. She even considered surgery. Like, all
What?
these. Yes. She's
How
like,
could surgery?
she thought maybe there was something they could do.
I mean, you can switch the tone of your voice.
Like a
Yeah.
reset it?
Yeah. So she tried, she said she has tried everything. And there is no getting rid of her accent.
There's no good for
and
here.
Yes. But I also think that, I don't know, to me, I'm like, like, what does it matter, right? Or it's like, how has your experience been from your perspective, right? Why is it a goal to get rid of your accent?
No, it's no longer a goal.
Okay.
I
But
acknowledge
at some
that.
point it was a
Yeah.
goal.
At some point, I'm thinking right now. I remember when I started dating my husband. We met at the bank working together, and when he first asked me for my contact, I could tell he had interest. I gave him my chat.com username because I told him I didn't have a cell phone then.
Oh,
So I'm like,
okay.
you can only chat through chat.com. You might be younger. I mean,
I don't think I know
chat.com. So I'm like, if you
I don't
want
know
to reach me,
chat.com.
just here's my username. You can chat
And he was
with me.
like,
And
did he know what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then
Did he think it was weird, or he was like, this is
he was
normal?
like, well, he did think it was weird, but he didn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, here's my email.
The main point was like, I'm like, I sound this way as it is on the phone. I sound even worse. I'm like, I don't want you to call me. I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then, I got over it. I've embraced it. It's just part of who I am, what I am. That's why I hired to my weaknesses, because yes, I feel like I can be judged right quickly. It's like, you have an accent. Are you even gonna communicate with me? Like, are you gonna know what you're saying? And it's like, what I know is here. It's not, on how it sounds.
Yeah.
And yes, I've gotten I want to speak with someone who speaks English. I'm speaking English.
Yeah.
Her mom used to get that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For
it's like,
sure.
I don't get it as much anymore, especially when your name's at the door.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but you know what? I did work my butt off to get that name on the door. So, hey, what I can provide is more than what comes out of my mouth, right?
Sure.
It's my knowledge, it's my presence, it's my vibe, right? So I just make sure I transmit that, and I give that same confidence to other people who struggle with that as well. My kids make fun of me all the time.
Really?
Yeah, like probably every day. They're like, I mean, really, you just say this way. Like, there's so many. Every time we travel, we come back and we say, "Right, you're gonna correct me as well," but we go through pits and peaks.
Mm-hmm.
Pits and peaks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, let's go. Let's talk about our pits and peaks. And they're like, Mom, can you say peaks? And I'm like, it sounds the same. You know what I'm talking about.
Like, we do it every time. You know what it is.
I think that's a very American thing, though, to like criticize how people speak.
Absolutely.
Because
yes.
I don't feel that way at all. Like with accents,
Mm-hmm.
like if I understand what you're saying, that's the
it.
biggest thing.
Yeah, there's really nothing else.
And I had this conversation with my mom recently. She has a good friend who she's actually a pastor at a church, but my mom is her vocabulary is very large, right? And one thing that bugs her is like when people talk about the troops, but they're really talking about individuals. She's like, no, a troop is a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't 5,000 troops that were sent. It was a troop of 5,000 soldiers. So she's like very critical about just like things like that.
Oh.
But and her friend kind of put it into perspective one day and was like, the goal of having a conversation is to convey an idea or a message.
Right.
Do you understand the idea of the message?
That's all that matters.
Yes?
Yes.
Then that's it.
Yeah.
So like if somebody says ax instead of ask, do you know what they're talking about?
Correct.
If you do, get over it.
They have communicated effectively.
They have communicated
That's it.
Perfectly.
You know what they're saying.
There's mute people who communicate without words.
Yeah.
And you can still get the message.
Yes.
You know, like.
Yes.
So like for me, I don't care what accent somebody has. I also think I have a really good ear for accents, but I was like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that translates a lot of times when we have customers where English is their second language.
For sure.
Especially here in Orlando, obviously Spanish is a big one, but we have, Chinese, Indian, Haitian, and I'm just like, I know what you're saying.
Exactly.
And it resonates with them a lot when they're like, especially when they met with other people that are just like dismissing them.
Mm-hmm.
More than dismissal today, I tell you, I get more people who appreciate the fact that one is trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see more of that today than people criticizing it, like, on the other side of the spectrum, right? So today I feel less criticized than I used to because I think people are more appreciative that I am just trying to help and provide something or, give you something. So I think that there has been a shift there, more people like you who just, I appreciate like, oh, you're trying, I get what you're saying. Let's move on.
For sure. Also, it is such a privilege to be bilingual. And I think that's a huge part of it too, where you say, well, I speak 2 languages. And
I think that's part of my perspective. I hear somebody with an accent and I'm understanding everything they say. I'm like, I want to be like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm looking up to that person as opposed to looking down to them because they've mastered my language better than I've ever mastered Spanish. Right? And like, if you can accomplish it, who cares if you have an accent?
That's what I say. Yeah.
I mean, we're in a for-profit industry, right? We're all in for-profit industry, so we can touch so many more people than someone who only speaks one language.
Yes.
So
absolutely,
there's so much value in that. I remember in my banking days, I got paid 25 cents more just because I spoke Spanish. Than another teller when I started in that field.
Yeah. And when you put that into perspective, then it's like, well, maybe the accent doesn't matter so much because there's so much more value that I bring to the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. For sure. And I think you're absolutely right. Like there is so much more to a person than just the words that they're saying. Like you're saying, like the vibe, everything all together, the body language, what they believe in, right? Like you're so positive and that comes through with more than just your words. So if the words come out with an accent, who cares? There's so much more there.
So you are our first guest, but there's a question that we want to start asking all of our guests.
Oh, Lord.
It can be related to business, personal, your industry, any industry. But if you have homework to assign to us, what would that homework be? Like, I'll give you an example. If you're looking for a new roof, these are the steps that I believe that you should take. What's your homework that you can give for us?
I'll share. Same thing I said at the beginning. So we will always shop for price, but
Mhm.
just know what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Know the person that you're dealing with. You know, especially if it's a phase, like they're not gonna tell you something today that you'll come back to and they'll change later, right? So, like, know who you're talking to and also what you're paying for, and that's all I say. Like, if you are shopping for insurance, like in my industry, make sure you understand what your dollars will be worth when the worst does happen, and that's it. As simple as that.
That's great.
Awesome.
That's perfect advice.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Anytime.
Maria.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. There's another episode of Do Your Homework. We'll see you guys next time.
Your homework.